All good strategic planning starts with taking an inventory. And when it comes to strategically planning to grow your business and the profitability in your business in such a way that your business gives you your life back, it is critical to stop and take an inventory both of the business and the state of the business, as well as the state of your own well-being, your personal mental well-being and emotional well-being. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question: what has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, the author of How to Hire the Best, and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host, Mike Bruno, and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. At Tap the Potential, we know you're longing to be freed from the constant demands of your business. You need a business that supports your life. And the problem is your business is taking over your life, leaving you frustrated and discouraged. We get it. At Tap the Potential, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. We understand you're paying a team, and most likely you're still having to do it all. There should be accountability. It should not be this hard, which is why, through our proprietary coaching system, we help thousands of business owners like you have more time for what's important to them and grow profit by 300 to 800%. Here's how we do it. Start by taking our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. You'll get an overview of your current quality of life as it relates to your business and next steps needed in your business to improve your quality of life while strengthening your business. Next, meet with our success team lead to debrief your results. Then, join our Better Business, Better Life program. By the end of your first year with us, you will have more time for what matters to you and more money in your bank account than you've ever had before. So, if you're ready to take your life back, the next step is to take our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. Profit designers, at Tap the Potential, we are on a mission right now to be a positive force in social media during trying times for all of us entrepreneurs. In that regard, I would love it if you could help us out. We really want to get behind any of you who are doing good things in your communities, showing up and leading with love. If you are doing something to keep your team together during this time and you're sharing it in social media, or you come across another entrepreneur who is being a gift from their gift in some way that you notice, please use the hashtags #LeadWithLove and Be a Gift. Our team at Tap the Potential is on the lookout in social media for those hashtags, and we will be reposting those social media posts from the Tap the Potential social media. Let's all lead with love, be a gift, and shine bright during these trying times. Hey there, profit designers. Guess what? We are at the end of 2020. I've been hearing from so many of you out there that you are just ready for 2020 to be over. It has been a challenging year for so many of us, and we are all eagerly looking forward to a much better experience in 2021. We are at the end of the year, every year at Tap the Potential, we have a tradition of taking our clients in our Better Business, Better Life program through a very thorough strategic planning to prepare for the year ahead. And when we do strategic planning at Tap the Potential, we do it a little different. We don't just talk about what's going to happen in the business in the year ahead. We are very aware that your business is happening within the context of your life. And everything that we take our clients through at Tap Tap the Potential in our Better Business, Better Life program is about building a business that gives you your life back. And that's what this strategic planning series is designed around. So what you can expect in the next 4 weeks is that I will take you through powerful exercises to help you own what you have accomplished and build your resilience. And that's where we're going to focus today, is building your resiliency and gearing up for what's to come in 2021. And then we will move from that into looking at planning the quality of life that you want to have and the business, what you're going to do in your business to support you in your quality of life. This is all designed for our clients in our Better Business, Better Life program, and we're making it available for you here on the podcast as a gift to you. I love teaching and guiding people through strategic planning. I get to be here and show up and be a gift from my gifts. I truly hope you find value in this experience and that it sets you up for success in 2021. It is my sincere wish that you have peace, joy, and ease throughout the holiday season and into 2021. So with that in mind, I want to encourage you to download our strategic planning workbook that we've created for you. That'll be a reference tool that you can use as you go through these 4 weeks here with us on the podcast. You can download that at tapthepotential.com/plan. tapthepotential.com/plan. Download that workbook. You can print it out and you can work through it here with me as we go on the podcast. All good strategic planning starts with taking an inventory. And when it comes to strategically planning to grow your business and the profitability in your business in such a way that your business gives you your life back, it is critical to stop and take an inventory both of the business and the state of the business, as well as the state of your own well-being, your personal mental well-being and emotional well-being. We have an assessment at tapthepotential.com that is specifically for that purpose. You can take our assessment to get that immediate feedback on how your business is currently set up to support your quality of life, and also understand the pieces of your business that need to be addressed and strengthened so that you have a higher quality of life going into 2021. Take our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. That's a free assessment. You will get immediate feedback as you go through the assessment about the strong areas in your business and how your business is impacting your quality of life and your well-being right now. So again, tapthepotential.com/assessment. That is step number 1 in your strategic planning process here with us. If you're in a place where you can pause the podcast and go take the assessment right now, that's what I recommend that you do, so that you don't get busy and forget. Go to tapthepotential.com/assessment, take the assessment, and then come back and listen to the rest of what I'll be sharing with you here about strategic planning and building your resilience. Okay, I'm going to assume that you paused the audio and you went ahead and took our assessment, and you're coming back here listening after having taken the assessment. If you're a current client of ours in the Better Business, Better Life program, taking this assessment gives you a snapshot of where you are right now with respect to the risk for entrepreneurial burnout. This is important to check this for yourself on a regular basis, so every few months, because as you are working with us in the Better Business, Better Life program, you are strengthening the systems in your business and building your team. So your risk for entrepreneurial burnout, the number of risk factors that you have, should be going down. And for those of you who are not in our Better Business, Better Life program, if you got a score that says that you are at risk for entrepreneurial burnout, that's a red flag. That means it's time to pay attention, because there are certain systems in your business or a lack of team or both that are contributing to you you having to carry too much of the weight and responsibility of the business on your shoulders. And as you went through the assessment, when you were answering yes or no with respect to our questions about particular systems that you have in place in your business, your yes responses are your strengths. And that is really good. We want you to know what is strong in your business, where those systems that are strong are, because those are systems that you want to hone and refine in the year ahead. We want to keep building on your strengths. And we also want to be acknowledging whenever you said no to one of our questions about a particular system in place in your business, that is acknowledging this is an area where the business has some vulnerability. It has some weakness. And because that system isn't there, I, the entrepreneur, am carrying that weight right now on my shoulders. So that's the information that you got as you took the assessment. And that's going to be very useful for you to have as we go through the next 4 weeks here on the podcast on the strategic planning series. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to talk with you next about resiliency. Strategic planning means that we are planning for growing in the year ahead, whether that means growing personally in our business, growing our teams, whatever front you're going to be growing on. Strategic planning acknowledges that growth is coming. And when we know that we're going to face growth, that means that we're going to be stepping outside our comfort zone. And we all know that as human beings, as soon as we get uncomfortable, our gremlins and our fears come up. And so a big part of doing effective strategic planning is first going into strategic planning from a place of strength. And that's why we want to build our resilience before we start the strategic planning process and planning for growth in the year ahead. And we want to start by acknowledging the specific challenges we experienced in the last 12 months. So obviously, top of mind for all of us is COVID and how that's impacted us. And at the same time, there's likely to have been other challenges that you experienced in your business or in your personal life. And just to give you something to think about, when it comes to building resilience, our relationships are the key to strengthening us and strengthening our resilience and allowing us to get through challenges. And at the same time as our relationships are key for that, the most stressful life events can happen around our relationships and they can impact our business. So there are the stressors that impact our relationships. They are among the top 10 stressors that we can experience in life. And stress can be experienced both from a positive angle and from a negative angle. So something can happen positively in our life that impacts our relationships, like the birth of a child, for example. Usually that's very exciting and a very positive experience. And as any of us know who've had children, that once a baby is born, life changes. And there are stressors associated with that, like loss of sleep, for example. And so that's an example of a stressor that can be very positive, but it is still experienced as stress. And then there's the negative events in our lives that create stress that impact our relationships. So I want to share with you the list of the top 10 normative stress life events to prompt your thinking about what you've been through in this past year that may have created stress for you and been a challenge that you've experienced. So the biggest stressor that we can experience in our life is the loss of a spouse, followed by divorce, separation, going to prison, losing close family members, a significant injury, getting married, job loss, reconciliation in marriage, or retirement. So that's the list of the top 10 most stressful life events that can happen to us in descending order. So number 1 is the loss of a spouse. And So if you have experienced any of those stressors in your personal life in the past year, it's really important to acknowledge that for yourself. And then I also want to invite you to think through what support you have received around the different stressors you've experienced in your life. Another point I want to make about what's on this list of top 10 most stressful life events, nowhere in there is cash flow in your business. Like that is not listed. And yet we entrepreneurs know that's the number one thing that will keep us awake at night, worrying about cash flow. And there's other things that go on in our business that can be a very stressful circumstance. So if we have a business partnership that deteriorates in the course of a year, that's very stressful. But that's a relationship issue. So that would make it, because it impacts a relationship, it's a higher level of stress for us. So just because something that you've experienced in your business is not on this list of the top 10 most stressful life events, it's also important to not acknowledge that this top 10 list comes from the general population. And entrepreneurs have very specific stressors that we deal with. And that's why we at Tap the Potential put so much intention and attention to supporting our clients from a whole life perspective as they're working on their businesses in the Better Business, Better Life program with us. So think through all the stressors that you've experienced in this past year. I know just in preparing for this podcast episode, as I started thinking this through for myself, this time last year, we had a major tornado come through and I had massive property damage and cleanup to deal with from that. Later in the year, we had a hurricane that caused massive damage yet again to the property and cleanup, not my house specifically, but just on the property. And then we've all been impacted by COVID. So those are some big things that I personally have dealt with. And I'm sure you have those situations in your life too, that you've had things outside of the business that have impacted you, as well as things within the business that have impacted you. So this is your opportunity just to do a brain dump and list out what those things are. Now, if you have downloaded our strategic planning workbook, there is a place in there to reflect on the specific challenges you've experienced. And I have additional questions for you to respond to. So thinking through, how were you impacted both personally and in the business? I want to invite you to think about what fears came up for you as you dealt with these challenges. We all have fears that come up when we are under stress. It doesn't mean that we operate out of fear, and hopefully we don't. Hopefully we can quickly move into problem solving and looking at what our strengths are and how we're going to deal with the challenges. But at the same time, we need to just slow down and acknowledge this stressor or this challenge brought fear up for me. And if you can name the specific fear, it takes away the power of that fear over you. Another question is, in what ways have you allowed others to support you? I would really encourage you to think that one through. As entrepreneurs, our natural tendency is to try to fix everything on our own. We feel like we can be the superhero in a situation and we can take care of everyone else around us. And at the same time, the most successful people are able to lean on others for support. So think about, in what ways have you allowed others to support you during the last year? And I think that's one of the big life lessons I've heard many of you express to me that you've gotten out of COVID, is that you've learned to lean on your teams. You have learned to ask for help. You have been more vulnerable in acknowledging the challenges that you experience, because there's something about just knowing that other entrepreneurs are out there struggling too, that makes it easier as an entrepreneur to say, hey, I'm having some challenges myself, and this is what's hard for me right now. So look around and think through, in the last 12 months, what life lessons have you taken from these experiences that you will be able to spring forward from and carry with you to build on? Resilience is not about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward and creating greater capacity within ourselves because of the experiences that we've learned from. Resilience is about us actively facing challenges, showing up, being present with the challenge, being present with the fear that we experience in relation to the challenge, and actively doing the hard work to heal and move forward. So resilience is a very active process, and it really requires us to be fully present with ourselves and to actively engage the challenges that we're experiencing. And resilience is like a muscle. It's something that we can build. Just like when we go to the gym and we work out, we can focus and be intentional around strengthening our resilience and build our resilience muscle. So in the last year, so many of us have had the opportunity to learn about ourselves as resilient individuals. Resilience is all about our willingness to endure challenges and allow ourselves to be fundamentally and forever changed. So who we are at the end of 2020 is very different than who we were at the beginning of 2020. And we need to acknowledge that. And in what ways are we better and stronger because of what we've been through in 2020? Next, I want to share with you the 5 practices of highly resilient people. Dr. Taryn Steiskell is the head of global leadership and development at Cigna, and she's studied the 5 practices of highly resilient individuals. And I want to share with you what these are. Number 1 is the practice of vulnerability and letting go of the shame bias that we have around vulnerability. And here's what I mean by the shame bias. We have experiences that we may hesitate to share with others because we feel like, boy, if I share this, they're going to judge me. They're going to see me as less than. And so I think one of the examples that I've shared on the Profit by Design podcast is that at Tap the Potential, we experienced a pretty significant loss of revenue due to COVID because of the timing of when it hit was during our peak enrollment period for us for the year. And so on the one hand, I felt shame around that because here I am, a business psychologist. I'm talking all the time to business owners about growing their business, growing their profitability. And yet here we are at Tap the Potential dealing with our own stressors around that. Well, as soon as I share that with other entrepreneurs, I notice that it creates a feeling of, oh, I can relate to Dr. Sabrina. She gets me. And it allows others around me to talk more openly about the challenges that they have experienced. And so although we have our own gremlins that may say to us, don't say that out loud because people will judge you, or there's some shame around this experience. In actuality, what happens as soon as we share something that has been hard or challenging for us, it actually draws people closer to us. And that's the power of vulnerability in strengthening our relationships. And remember, our relationships are key to strengthening our own resilience. The second practice of highly resilient people is productive perseverance, knowing when to stay the course and not being afraid to shift gears. This is so important and so big. In our Better Business, Better Life program, I hear our clients grappling with this and bringing issues forward on a regular basis around, is this something that I want to continue doing, or is it no longer serving me? And that opportunity to have a sounding board of trusted individuals who can help you think through these decisions. We need to know when it's important to shift gears. Many of us came into 2020 with plans for how we were going to do things, how we were going to grow our revenue or build our teams. And then as March and April, as we went through the experience of COVID, so many things that we had in place had to shift. And so knowing when to shift gears is part of that productive perseverance. And it's also important to know, how do we decide when we need to stay the course? Oftentimes I will see business owners really taking strong action over the course of 9 to 12 months to move their business in a better place. And it's like a football game and you're on the 10-yard line and you haven't seen the touchdown yet. And you're on the 10-yard line and you're thinking, I've been working so hard to get here and it's not happening yet. Maybe this is the wrong thing to do and maybe I need to stop. Maybe this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Usually when we're having those thoughts, we are just about to make the touchdown. And so I think it's so important to have a supportive group of other entrepreneurs around us who can help us see when we are at the 10-yard line and we're just about to make that touchdown. And when we feel like, oh, I should stop, I should give up, this isn't working. We need that feedback to help us persevere and keep going, and the support around us to help us make those decisions of, should I continue the course or should I shift course? The third practice of highly resilient people is the practice of connection, connecting with others, utilizing support, and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable so that we can receive that support. When we close ourselves off and put on the facade of everything is okay, we are shutting ourselves off from connecting with people. So I really invite you to look at, where is it safe to let down my guard? Where is it safe to acknowledge I am struggling, and allow others to connect with you and support you around that? The fourth practice of highly resilient people is what Dr. Steiskal calls the practice of gratiosity. I love this word. And that's the combined practice of gratitude and generosity. There are gifts in adversity. And when we acknowledge the gifts, we're expressing gratitude. There are many gifts that have come out of what we've experienced with COVID. We've learned to appreciate our health. We have learned to appreciate the small opportunities for social connection. Just being able to go out to dinner at a restaurant and spend quality time with friends is a gift. That is something for us to be grateful for. And when we have those opportunities, to acknowledge that it's these small things that are actually very powerful for us and very important to be grateful for. And then generously sharing our stories. Again, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and to connect with others. And then the fifth practice of highly resilient people is the practice of possibility. Facing adversity and coming forward with less fear. That means our ability to see possibility versus challenge and adversity. So we faced challenges, and what opportunities have opened up to you because of the challenges you have experienced in 2020 or are currently experiencing right now? What are the possibilities that are coming out of these experiences? At Tap the Potential, we're really big on celebrating wins and successes. And the next set of questions are specifically designed to help you reflect on wins and successes from the past year. Some of the questions that I'll be asking, you're going to draw a blank on and you won't have an immediate answer. That's okay. That is an acknowledgement for your strategic planning in 2021 that you may want to put more attention and intention in those areas. You know, just yesterday, I was having a conversation with Melissa Swire, my executive assistant, and she was sharing with me what she is being intentional about as she's building my calendar for 2021. And I could hear she was excited about what she was working on, but I could also hear some stress in her voice and it almost sounded like guilt for not being quite as far along as she would like to be with managing my schedule more effectively. And it caught me, and it made me pause and reflect on where we were when she started with me at the beginning of 2020. And there was so much in my schedule that wasn't working or was not working very well and creating additional stress for me. And so I just paused for a moment and I said, Melissa, let's think about how far we've come with my schedule and some of the things that we've put in place in the last year that have really made things work way more effectively and allowed me to be a lot less stressed, because I really am a lot less stressed, and I've been able to be focusing on my highest value contributions at Tap the Potential because of how she's managed my schedule. And so I just invited her to reflect on that. And she came back and she said, thank you so much, because I had been focusing on what's left to do. And her statement around that It just really captures how we are as entrepreneurs. We focus on what is yet to be done, what we want to accomplish, and our dissatisfaction with things not moving along as quickly as we would like them to. And I just want to invite you here to pause and reflect on what you have accomplished in the last 12 months. Even as you've dealt with challenges and overcome adversity, what have you accomplished? What have you moved forward? It really is those small steps that we take in a consistent direction that will lead to big change over time. And in our day-to-day experience, we may feel like we are not making any forward movement. But when we stop and we take that 12-month picture and we think about, well, where was I 12 months ago? What did this business look like? It's oftentimes in those moments that we realize, wow, we've come a long way. Those things that we are doing with intent and with direction towards our vision, when we're taking small steps in those directions towards our vision, it really does have a big impact over 12 months. So the questions that I've compiled for you here are designed to get you reflecting on your wins and successes, because we're going to build on that as you go into 2021 and as I take you through the strategic planning series. Now, these questions are all in your workbook. And if you don't have your workbook downloaded, I want to encourage you to go download the workbook. You can print this out. There's space in there for you to write your answers, or you can, if you journal, you can have a journal and just use the questions as a prompt for yourself as you're journaling. With respect to your leadership, what personal development have you undertaken? What coaching did you do? How did you grow as a leader this past year? What struggles and challenges have you overcome that have made you a better leader? What feedback have you received from your team about areas for growth? What are you aware of that you could stop doing that would make your life easier and allow you to be more effective? How did you do with respect to improving the profitability of your business? What impacted profitability? What actions did you take specifically to improve profit? And what lessons did you learn? Did your revenue increase or decrease in the last 12 months? What impacted that? What actions did you take to increase revenue? Were these actions effective? What lessons did you learn? In what ways did you improve your service delivery, particularly with respect to your top clients? In what ways did you improve your marketing? What are you doing specifically to attract more top clients? How did you build your team? In what ways have you strengthened your systems for hiring A players? What team members did you hire? What team members did you let go? And what lessons have you learned from those experiences? What team development have you undertaken in the last 12 months? In what ways have you strengthened systems in your business in the last 12 months? In what ways have you set healthier boundaries with your business so that you might have a better quality of life? So these questions that I've just shared with you are powerful questions. I really invite you to sit down, find some quiet space, and work through these questions in your strategic planning workbook from us, because we typically don't take the time to own and celebrate our wins. And that is going to be a big piece of what you build on as you strategically plan for 2021. And celebrating your wins is a big part of being more resilient and being able to bounce forward from the experiences that you've had in 2020. Also, by way of taking inventory, it's important to think through, what are the projects that you started but did not complete? What projects are almost complete and just need to be taken to the finish line? Along those same lines, what's working well that, if improved or further systemized in your business, might develop into a significant strength in the next 12 months? What's not working in your business? What could you let go of? What could be simplified? And finally, as you worked through these questions today, what aha moments did you have? Take the time and capture those. Thinking time as an entrepreneur is critical. We have to get out of the weeds of the day-to-day and really set aside the time to think and reflect. That's how we avoid paying the dumb tax. And the dumb tax is where we make mistakes because we are too busy. We're trying to run around, put out fires, and we do things that undermine us from having what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So give yourself the gift of time during the quiet time of the year and really let yourself think through these questions. When we come back together next week on the podcast, I want to take you through a vision exercise to help you vision for 2021. So by way of wrapping up, be sure to get everything you need from us to set yourself up for success. So that means taking our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment and downloading a copy of the strategic planning workbook for yourself. You can get that at tapthepotential.com/plan. If your business is taking over your life and you're ready to take your life back, Tap the Potential's Better Business, Better Life program could be just what you're looking for. By the end of your first year in our program, you will have more time for what matters to you and more money in your bank account than ever. Get started. Take our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. Share your thoughts on today's episode, ask us questions, and let us know what you want to hear about next. Visit our website at profitbydesignpodcast.com to access resources from our sponsors and tools we've created for you. Subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to right now. There's a subscribe button right there. Go ahead and hit it so that you always get a notification when we release a new episode. And finally, share our podcast with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. Thanks again for listening. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.